So the first thing that I want to cover today is niches and figuring out exactly what pain or problem that you're going to solve and all of the different various offshoots of your niche that may be available to you out there. Whether you're looking directly at just relationship management and you want to do just breakups or marriages or divorces, whatever, clear into the type of roofing that you might want to do, industrial or focusing on commercial or residential. It doesn't really matter what we're talking about here. I want to kind of explore the offshoots around your niche so that when you come encounter with them, you know if it's a niche that you're actually going to focus on, if it's a heaven client, an angel client, or a demon client, as they say. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you here. The first document that I want to go over is the Niche Matrix Worksheet. All right, so this document here is going to help us assess our niches. So the first thing that you want to do up at the top here when you're filling out this document is go ahead and type in the type of niche that you're shooting for. Okay, so in this one it might be I'm just going to pick one of y'all here, and I'm going to say I don't know why relationships are on my mind, but that's the one I'm going for here. So it could be weight loss or finance or whatever it is that you're focusing on. You could go broad, you can get more specific, whatever you want to do. If you wanted to do service professionals that you wanted to focus on just them for marketing, or if you wanted to do some enterprise clients, whatever. That's not very important. The second thing is the most important, and that is the core problem or pain that they're experiencing. And this is how you should be focusing on your niche, is by their pain. Yes, industry comes into it, but it is mostly by their pain. Okay. The industry is going to vary in how they might solve the problem, but the core pain is what you want to focus on. And that's where you might dive off into a couple different industries when you start growing. But when you're starting out, it is pain. Okay. There we go. All right. So what we're going to do here, Talon, since I did relationships here, unmute yourself. I'm going to go through this with you. Go ahead and give me your core problem that you're focusing on.
I would say, it could go either way. I would just say breakup, I guess, generalize it.
Okay. We're just going to do breakups then. Now, I'm wondering, is this breakup from a marriage or from dating?
Usually dating. I get more of those.
I guess it would be a divorce the other way around, huh? All right. So breakup it is. So cost of the opportunity that's lost. This one's really important. It's going to play back into the situation later on. And Travis, I'm just going to mute you here real quick. So the opportunity that's lost is going to play back in when we start pricing our offer. So it's something that we need to take into account to determine if this is a niche that we want to target. And when we talk about cost of the opportunity that's lost, what I'm referring to is, let's say that in a relationship, they are single, obviously, and they can only accomplish so much. Maybe they have to, they've got a demanding job, and they don't have that person supporting them back at home. Maybe it's two heads are better than one. And so when they're single, they're only producing so much in life towards their desire. Okay. Maybe if they were together with somebody in a married situation or in a relationship, that other person would be supporting them. And so they're going to take on half the bills, take on half the house, the emotional aspect. They're going to be coached and encouraged in life together, and they're going to be working towards their goals. So they're going to be more productive. So what they are missing out on, that's the opportunity that's lost every single day that they're in the breakup situation, right? If your in desire is to get back into a relationship. So go ahead and unmute yourself, Talon. Um, the What's the opportunity in a breakup situation? What's the end desire or goal that they're going for?
I mean, I would say definitely it's to be happy again because their mind is just zoned in. It affects everything in their life, their career, their, thought process. I mean, so I would just say being online again and
Okay, that's great. I'm going to stop you there. You're way better at the whole relationship thing than I am. So, yes, being happy and more productive is the desire of what they're missing out on every single day that they're in the depressed breakup situation, right? So, you're taking them from the depressed breakup to the happy productive.
correct.
Okay. So that's the opportunity that's lost every single day. So what we're going to do is basically say, how big of an opportunity is that that's impacting their life? 1 to 10. One being, it's not a very big opportunity. They'll get gas in their car tomorrow. 10 being, they're never going to have children if that's their end goal. So what is the opportunity that's lost there? How big is it?
Shit, I almost want to say like a 8 or 10 because the people I talk to, they're like, "That was the love of my life." Like, so I mean, I would say let's do a 9.
Okay, so super unproductive then when they're in the breakup situation is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay,
depressed. Hmm.
great. So then the next one is time required to solve the problem themselves. And essentially what that is referring to is how long is it going to take them to get out of that breakup situation and accomplish their goals and desires of being happy again?
With or without me.
Without you. This is by themselves. How long would it take them to accomplish their desire without you?
It's unpredictable, to be honest. Could be forever. Couldn't, could be a couple months.
Yeah, how long do people normally wallow in that? What do they say? 10% of the time or something? Like if you're together a year, you recover in a month?
I think it's like 50%. Like half the time you were with them is half the time it takes.
Oh, to get over them.
Yeah,
So then you want to throw a 5 on here?
sure.
It's not too difficult, not a ton of opportunity in there. Eventually they're going to get over it, is what we're saying.
Hmm.
All right, difficulty in solving that problem themselves. Um, I might answer this one for you. I feel like they will just eventually, the emotions will wear off. And as time goes on further, they'll just get out of it. Am I wrong?
It depends on the case, to be honest.
So average it out for me.
I mean, I've been after a breakup, I've been in love with the girl for years after, and some I've gotten over in like a week, so difficulty solving the problem themselves. I mean, I'm gonna give it a 7. Like
Okay.
people are consumed by their mind.
And all of the numbers that we're putting in here are entirely subjective. That's all dependent on you. If I put somebody else in here and ask them these exact same questions, it's going to be completely different. So don't get hung up on what that number is. Just go ahead and feel it and throw it down. So the number of people being affected, it 10 would be every single man, woman, and child on the planet. Okay, they all need water, for example. Whereas if I'm selling stilettos, I'm shooting for 20-year-old women in the U.S. Right?
I would say one or two then if we're talking about the entire world. One.
1% of people are actually dealing with a breakup. Okay.
Oh, like in general, I thought you meant like other people because of it.
Yeah, in general, from the world, give me like a 10 being 100% of people are all the time dealing with this.
Whatever, a three, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. If I were selling, maternity clothes or something, then it would be some women some of the time, right? So a very small percentage. Whereas if you're selling water, like I said, it's every day, multiple times, that would be 100%. All right. So the scalability of solving the problem. And what I'm referring to here is that if we craft some kind of offer, how scalable is it that you would actually be able to solve this? If you have to spend 30 days straight with every individual every hour of the day, that's not very scalable. You have to hire somebody and hope that that person is going to be able to get the kind of results that you're able to get. Whereas if we're talking about um, a digital product, well, obviously there's no effort in there and you can scale it like crazy. So if you were to think about how you could both combine the digital and the physical element to help them solve that, how scalable is this really?
Um, I mean, maybe like a 1 to 3 month process, 4 to 12 sessions, or I mean, I don't know, 3, 4, I guess, 3. I don't know.
Okay. Again,
That
totally
one's like a
subjective.
hard one. Yeah, I mean, scalable. I don't know.
Yeah. And now the next one is your certainty of solving the problem. 10 being absolutely I can solve it for every single person. It's like that water. I give it to them, they drink it, it's solved.
I would say like 8. Got some stubborn ones, but it's sooner or later you're gonna get them.
Okay, and the time frame of solving the problem. Now this one's a little tricky because some problems require immediate solutions. Say if I cut a vein or something like that, I'm bleeding out. I need an immediate solution. So bust out the bandage, put it on, wrap me up, right? Whereas other ones, if I'm building a 4,000 square foot house on the side of a hill on a golf course, I don't want it to take a day. I want it to take a good solid 2 years and I want it done right. So the time frame of solving the problem has to be comparative to the value that the people put onto the problem. So 10 being I can solve it right in line with their expectations. One being it either takes me a whole lot longer to solve it than what people expect, or I solve it way quicker than what people want.
A 5? I don't know. It just came to mind.
That's all right. We'll go for it. Okay. And the next one is your emotional understanding of those affected.
I
So
would.
what I'm referring to here is that I want to know um, how well do you understand this group of individuals on an emotional level?
I would say probably a 9.
Okay. Now the next one here is does your audience have people with money? This is super important. Okay, super important. The last thing you want to be doing is offering a Ferrari to some 18-year-old kid, right? Some entrepreneur. Like they're not going to have the money for your product. So from where you're pricing, how well does your pricing fit the market?
I mean, my pricing's low currently, so they have
So
money. Mm,
so what you're saying is that these individuals, it's what I would think was that breakups affect everybody, regardless of class. So you're going to end up with people with money in here, and I would probably say that 50% of the people that you come encounter with would be able to spend $1,000.
For sure.
Okay, so 5.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Does the audience? Oh wait, did I say that one? Okay. Barrier to entry. Now this is a great one. They actually anybody in New York could grab a car and run around and do taxi delivery. And so what the big taxi companies decided was that, hey, let's get a law passed where you've got to spend $1 million to get an emblem on the hood of your car. And if you don't get that emblem, you're not allowed to drive people around. So they made the barrier to entry impossible for all of the smaller guys to enter the market. What is the barrier to entry with your market and new people entering it? Is it crazy difficult or is it very easy to get into? Difficult being 10.
I don't think it's difficult. So maybe like a 2 or a 3 or.
All right. The next is market saturation. How many people are out there? Like, is this a free for all market? You're the first one pioneering it and you're the only one doing it? That's a 10. Or is this something where you're in an industry like me and every stay at home mom and 18-year-old kid thinks they know marketing? That would be a 1.
Maybe a 3 or a 4.
So you feel like it's pretty saturated with therapists or coaches or whatever?
No, I think there's tons of fair game out there, but I'm not the first dog doing it.
So I'd give you better credit than 3, but that's me. I will go with 3 if that's how you feel. All right, and then audience fatigue. I can tell you that chiropractors hate marketers. So I obviously wouldn't go after a chiropractor. That would be a 1 for me. For you, how's the fatigue? Are they sick and tired of hearing from therapists hounding them?
No, they're begging for someone to talk to. So, I mean, I would say like an 8 for sure.
Awesome. All right. So you scored a 67 out of 120. So you're at about 50%. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mute yourself. Lee, jump in here. Let's tackle what you got. Where'd you go, Lee? There you are. We can't hear you, Lee. You gotta unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So give me your industry.
I think we said that it was going to be the well, the industry that we're targeting is going to be first time home buyers.
And the core pain or problem?
Was getting that approval letter, getting that bank approval letter.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the opportunity loss of not having that? How much does it cost them every single day to not have that property?
I would say it costs them about anywhere from What do you mean? Like as far as what that's not like? I'm confused. Like I mean, of course they would have to pay rent, but if they owned a property, it would go toward, I guess, ownership or something like that. If they had payments for, a house that
Yeah,
they
let
were
me help
owning.
you with this one. Ultimately, they're looking for a passive income that's going to help them live that freedom lifestyle. That's why they're shooting for, in your case, the first time investment property buyers, right? That's what you're shooting for specifically.
Right.
First time investors looking
Absolutely.
for their bank approval. So the opportunity is compounding when you're talking about rental property like that. So if they don't have that rental property now, it could take them another 10 years to figure it out. And that's 10 years off their life. And the amount that they could accomplish would be huge, right? So
Right.
the opportunity of them starting sooner and sooner, it's like retirement. You're saving for retirement. The sooner you start, the so much more you're going to be able to acquire later in life. So I would say the opportunity loss, if they don't work on it now and get it now, they are going to be struggling financially for years to come, and they'll never be able to really acquire or get to those really high levels. So a 10 would be millions of dollars in their mind, and a one would be, a butterfly. So how would you rate that?
Um, I would say about a 9.
I would tend to agree with you there. Okay, so time required to solve the problem themselves. How long is it going to take for them to figure out how to get that bank approval letter and actually get their first property?
I would say if they start working on it, I would say no more than about a month or so if everything goes right.
A month?
To get the first property, if you have all the correct credit information and the paperwork, and like I think that you probably could close out on a deal in about a month.
Yeah, I would agree if you've got everything together. Um, but there's a reason why we have a market called first time home buyers, and that's they don't know what to expect. They don't know what to correct, and they have to correct it all at the same time. So sometimes in their life they might have 10 grand in the bank, but they don't have the credit, the debt paid off, and they don't have the job history. So it's all got to align at the same time in order for them to get that first house. After they've gotten the first one, everything's a lot easier. So I would say the time required to solve the problem, it could end up being 10 years before they buy their first home. There's a reason why most people don't buy their first home until they're 31 or 35, right?
Absolutely. But a lot of it is like lack of knowledge. If you I guess go and you have good credit and you have a little money in the bank, it could definitely be a quick process. But again, if you don't have the knowledge of anything, of course, it's going to probably be a long, drawn out process. So yes, I agree.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So let's average it across all the people that are trying to get into rental property, owning rental property. Um, what's the opportunity? Like, how long is it taking them? Vast majority of them, 10. The longer it takes them, the closer it gets to 10, right? Because it's harder for them to get in, right?
Again, it just kind of depends on what kind of rental property you're talking about. If we talking about like a apartment can be rental property, you know what I mean? So I mean,
Yeah,
it just depends. And some apartments don't require, a lot of necessary pieces of, I guess, credit history and income based stuff, if you will. And they may be low budget. It just depends on what you're talking about. Like what kind of rental property are we talking? If we
give me a
talking something.
number. Give me a number from 1 to 10. How long it normally takes for people to figure this out on their own?
I'll say about a 5.
You would say a 5. Okay. I would have given you a lot higher than that. Okay,
What
so
would what would you say?
well, you don't want to take my number, but I would say that this is probably. I mean, there's a reason why they don't buy it until they're 31 to 35, their first house. I would say the younger guys that want to get into this, sometimes they get in at 25. I mean, I know a friend of mine got in at 18. So yes, they are going for it to get in, and that group is getting into it earlier. But I still would say the time to solve it themselves, it was probably a 7 or an 8. Like it's up there. But that's just me. All right, let's jump to the next one. Difficulty in solving the problem themselves. It's like, how complex is it for them to get that bank approval letter and get everything lined up, know what they need to know?
On that one right there, I would say about an 8 or a 9.
All right. Now, the number of people being affected, how many, like, how big is this market?
I would say that's pretty high. I would say about a 7 or an 8.
Now I'm feeling like you're giving yourself higher on all of them. Don't worry, it's great. The
I'm just,
scalability of solving the problem.
I would say about a 7.
All right. Next, certainty.
With the right formula, with the formula, I would say about a 8.
Yeah, your certainty in solving the problem.
Right.
Right.
With that formula and with the right coach and all that, yeah, 8 for sure. 9.
Okay. How long does it take for you to get them that bank approval letter?
Now that I haven't really played with yet a lot. I think that if I had the credentials of that broker, and again with the right coach and just the right formula, the time frame shouldn't be long. I would say no more than a couple of months. So, you know.
I can't put a couple months down. Give me a 1 to 10. Like, I'm thinking if they want to get in and you're able to solve it in 30 days and have their bank approval letter in 30 days, that would be a 10. If it takes you 2 years, that would be like a 3.
Okay.
And I think it's going to take you like 12 months maybe to help these guys get their first property. But that's just me. And that's not based off your skill. That's kind of based off their ability to actually save money, right?
Okay. All right, I would say a 5.
Okay, your emotional understanding of those real estate investor wannabe guys?
I'm not straight heavy on real estate like that, so I don't know the field that much. But of course, I'm studying and just trying to understand more. So I would say about half.
But we're not talking about real estate. We're talking about the people that you are solving this problem for that want to buy their property. How well do you know them?
Maybe a 6.
Okay. Okay. Does your audience have people with money?
Absolutely. I would say about a 9.
You'd say a 9 on that? All right.
Yeah, if you are into that specific niche, and with housing and things like that, of course, like, yeah, the money will be around. So if you get that bank approval letter, it's going to be the banks with the money, right?
Yeah, it's going to be the bank with the money. But do these guys have money to pay you $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 to help them, get into that property?
If they're trying to get a house, I would say so. Yes.
Okay. So barrier to entry. How difficult is it for other people to do what you do?
I'd say 8. A lot of people might not have the interest, and again, without the right formula and the right things in place, just to come in. If you don't know it, I would say it would be pretty difficult.
So 8.
Yeah.
Okay. How many people are offering what you offer?
I think this is going to be kind of unique, so I would say a 4, 5.
All right. And audience fatigue?
What does that mean?
That means is your audience exhausted and tired of hearing from consultants like yourself that can help solve this problem?
I don't think so because everybody wants to be a homeowner at some point. So I
Yeah.
would, no, I don't, I definitely don't agree with that. So I would say mm, 9, 10.
Okay.
Everybody wants that house. Even
That's
the
great.
first thing you do when you get rich is you want to go buy a house. So no.
Yep. So awesome. That's yours. You score 76 or 85 after I clicked off of it.